Hey, welcome back to No Hype Beer Reviews. Unless it's your first time, then welcome. Please consider subscribing. If you do, hit the notification bell, get all the updates. I'm so excited for this beer because I love maple, so this is an obvious beer for me. It's courtesy of Woodland Farm. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Keith especially, or in particular. So this is their 7th anniversary beer, so that's awesome, and congrats on 7 years. That's obviously absolutely amazing. So this is Maple Rye Batch 7. It's a Scottish wee heavy, 12.2% ABV. So cheers to 7 years. Our anniversary Scotch wee heavy was aged 1 year in a used maple syrup barrel that had previously held rye whiskey. Sign me up for all of that. Caramel and chocolate sweetness of the ale is balanced well with hints of maple and oak. Yeah, I'm so stoked on this. I was going back and forth. I'm like, what kind of glass should I use? And I'm like, this one just seems ceremonial enough to celebrate 7 years. It's one of my favorite glasses. I almost only ever use it for Thomas Hardy or beers like that. So I feel like, Keith, I know you're going to be watching. I did that to hopefully make you happy. Not in a bad way, but just like I have to please you. But this is getting weird. But I hope you're happy that I'm using such a special glass is what I mean. This got super awkward. Back to the beer review. If I edited, I would edit that out. Not a ton of head, as to be expected. It's definitely a brown color. There is a little bit of red in there, a little bit of black in there also, but it's mostly this brown color. The liquid itself, the head, like a dark khaki kind of color. Not a lot. There is mostly signified glass. On the top, there is still that film of it, so it does still cover. But yeah, not a lot of head. But again, I anticipated that. Let's see. A little bit of lacing sticking around. The legs are there. They don't seem to be off color at all. Just kind of like a clear legs. Let's get into the aroma. That smells awesome. Oh my God. So that first, I almost said sip. That first smell, it smelled fantastic. And then I smelled it a second time, and I got even more stuff, which seems hard because of how much the first sip or the first smell was just on point. I mean, you're getting everything. Wow, I don't even know where to start. Caramel for sure, caramelized sugars for sure, dates, other dried fruits without a doubt. Some oakiness coming through. I do get a little bit of the maple already, even, which I think is hard to get to come through in beers. You get with the oak, you get a little bit of tannins, a little bit of spiciness. I'm trying to think of stuff I'm not getting that you maybe could get, with a barrel aged beer like this. I don't get any coconut, for example. I don't really get vanilla, for example, but that spiciness of the rye comes through so well. Man, there's these other sweet flavors where it's not just sugar sweetness, it's specific things. A very soft molasses note. Also, I got to revisit. I think with how I'm describing everything, the way I said the spiciness from the rye, I probably made it sound more intense than it is. It's there, but it's not in your face. So I got to walk that back just a little bit. Yeah, it's not quite dried bananas, but it's in that ballpark. It's fruity, it's dried fruit, but not a common dried fruit, I would say, for a beer like this. Or maybe it is, no, it is a little bit of dried banana, and maybe even a little bit of a baking spices. Oh my God. And I am getting a little bit of vanilla. Wow, this is, okay. Let's see about the sip. Cheers. Thanks again, Keith. I really appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Oh, and congrats on 7 years. And here's to 7 more. And anything else you're supposed to say in a situation like this? Just drink it. Okay. That's nice. What's really nice about that sip is all those sweet things I said in the aroma are there. And it's not even at any point cloyingly sweet. I think probably the alcohol, which I do not taste at all, which is impressive at that, double digits at that ABV. You get, I think, from the alcohol, some of the tannins from the oak. What else maybe is contributing to some of the drying factors and the things that are bringing some balance? Maybe a little bit of that spiciness from the rye. I don't know what else it would be, but like it's not ever cloyingly sweet. But like, like when it's notes of caramel, it's the taste of caramel, not just the sugariness and the taste of caramel. It's like that thing, But don't get me wrong, there are definitely sweet moments of this sip. In some ways, and at certain times, it's almost like not exactly like a this time of year you get like fruitcakes. It's not like exactly like that in beer form, but like dried fruits, a little bit of like that molasses, and some sweet dark bread notes. So it's in that ballpark in beer form, but it's not exactly that thing either. There's a little bit of, again, speaking of things that are like helping to keep the sweetness in check, man, this beer is good. Vanilla and maple are compounding a little bit on my palate, which is nice. There's a sprinkling of chocolate, but that's not what I was going to say before. And now I've kind of lost that, what I was going to say. Ah, man. Oh. That sip, that finish, I almost took another sip. I want to speak on this. That finish and aftertaste is very, and it makes sense based on something else I said. It reminded me of a cinnamon raisin bagel in beer form. So that baking spice thing is there. Again, like the spiciness of the rye, it's not like in your face. Actually, nothing is really in your face. This is a very balanced beer. You're getting many different elements. And I would say there's some things that are more intense than others, obviously, but nothing is too out of whack. And also, when you have a beer like this and you're talking about how many different flavors and different things you're getting, the fact that nothing is in contradiction with each other is very impressive. There's no conflict in this beer. It is a very cohesive sip, and I think that's one of the nice things about aging beer is some of those harsh edges can get rounded, flavors will melt together, and I don't know, I didn't try this beer at a bunch of different steps in the process. I don't know if I'd ever had those moments where there's like some edges were a little sharp or whatever, but at this point, for sure, not there at all. I know I'm like gushing about it, but like it's really that good, guys. Slight cherry, that sip. I'm just trying to think of or identify different things I haven't said yet. Oh, I know what I was going to say before. One of the things that's bringing some balance to that sweetness, there's, going back to the bready thing, there's like this, it's not savory, but it's on the path towards savory bread element also. And it's probably, the more I'm thinking about it, it's probably the rye specific thing. That's why I keep going like dark breads in my mind. It's probably that wryness, but not the like spiciness I typically get with rye stuff, whether it's actually drinking a rye whiskey or a beer, those Asian rye whiskey barrels. But actual like the taste of just rye, period. And that's maybe making me go to that rye whiskey thing. Man, this is definitely one of those live stream beers where like I could just be sipping on this for an hour, hour and a half, and just kind of keep talking about it. What's the same, what's changing, talk about a couple other things for 3, 4, 5 minutes, come back to it, reevaluate, kind of a thing for sure. Yeah, that caramel date thing. I am going to wrap up the review, and again, this is one of those ones I could keep sipping on camera and keep going on and on about. So here's what I'm going to do. If there's anything else like really of note, I'll add it in the description box below. If it's just kind of these similar things I've already explained in the video, I won't amend anything. But check the description box below. Maybe I came up with some other notes that I thought were worthwhile. What were their notes again? Caramel and chocolate. Yeah, I mean, definitely caramel. And I get a little bit of chocolate, but I definitely get that caramel thing. And again, obviously a heck of a lot more as well. This is nice. And as someone who really loves maple syrup, it's nice to have just a little hint of that throughout, which is cool. Yeah, this is super tasty. Have you guys had this beer before? Have you had a Scottish Wee Heavy lately, barrel aged or otherwise? You sipping on something else especially want to tell me about? You've had something else from this brewery? Anything, everything, comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. Once you're done doing that, make sure you check me out on Instagram and Untapped. It's No Hype Beer Reviews at both those places. So please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, imbibe. Cheers, everyone.